Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Bowcott with Sweetwater here, and I'm here with the one, the only Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest. And I'm going to put him on the spot that might make him want to make my head roll, because we normally ask people to show us 2 or 3 licks, but because his name begins with F, because Firepower begins with F, I'm going to ask him this. I want 4 fret burners from Firepower from Richie Faulkner. This is the album, so don't hit me, but show us 4 licks, please, that people can use.
Let me think about this. So the first lick we'll do from a song called Traitors Gate. It's a kind of, it's one of those kind of, one of those chord progressions which is very Randy Rhoads, Aussie type, Diary of a Madman type stuff. So I wanted to, Randy's a huge influence, I think, on people, whether they know it or not. There's stuff that, you know what I mean? So I wanted something that incorporated that kind of thing. So it's, I'll play it and then I'll show you what I mean.
Cool.
So it's got that sort of
diminished classical.
Yeah, exactly that, but without being too Malmsteen. It's kind of, it's got that Schenker meat and potatoes, but being in that you know,
that's well
that
put.
scale.
Yeah,
you know?
Schenker-esque, yeah.
That sort of thing. So
can you play it slowly? That's the big question.
That is a big question.
Wow.
We did it. I'm shocked.
That's almost 4 in 1, to be honest, but I'm going to make you do another 3. Wow, that was cool. So,
well, the interesting thing about Randy and Michael, I always thought, it wasn't just like that last lick, for example. They're flat notes, but they sort of... There's bends up, and like small ones.
Yeah.
But it's that fingerprint that makes everyone unique, you know. So
no, exactly.
Tried to put that sort of stuff in. And that's in... on the record, that's in a whole step down, by the way, in the sort of E position.
Right, so it's in E, but it's in D, effectively.
Yeah, exactly that,
gotcha. Yeah, I was just learning Into the Arena. Oh, makes me realise how much work I have to do still.
For Schenker, it's like the blues players. It was all about the gaps.
Yeah.
What the, you know, and you know. And the gaps are where the fingerprint comes in. If you, to me, if you're playing 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's fantastic. But first of all, I couldn't do it, so I've got to make up an excuse why it's better not to do it. But the gaps are where the vibrato comes in, and that's every guitar player's fingerprint.
Yep.
So David Gilmour, Schenker, Zach, you know, all those guys, Randy, there was enough space there to get those fingerprints in. Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, they are literally fingerprints, you know. So yeah.
Cool. So that's 1 down, 3 to go. And these can be shorter if you like.
Okay.
Because that was a brilliant one, though. Thank you.
Okay. The next one's from a song on Firepower, as you requested, called Necromancer. The
love song.
Exactly, yes. Hilarious. I've lost my mind now. I can't think now.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this one is from Necromancer, and it was that kind of Sentinel type trade-off that we wanted to have on this. This is also a full step down, which this guitar obviously isn't at the moment, but
that's E flat. But
yeah, on the record it's a whole step down. Again in the E position, and the second, I think it's me, Glenn, then me and Glenn again. So the last part is mine, and it goes something like this. Kind of. So I'll do it slowly.
Wow, that's hard.
Well,
it's cool though.
I want it to sound simple, but there's more going on there than...
Yeah, it sounds simple, but watch what your fingers do.
Yeah.
So this is one of those ones that sounds simple, but is quite hard to play, maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe
for me.
not. Yeah. Definitely for me. But
I'll try it slowly. So, again, it's got that, I wanted to have that space where you could get the... There's small bends in there.
Yeah, the half-step bends, very Schenker-esque again, dare I say. Beautiful, though.
And then there's a pickup change, and it's... That's the sort of pattern. So again, it's all pentatonic stuff.
With a slight bit of spice that makes it special.
Hopefully. You never know. You just try and do things that, hopefully will inspire people and turn them on musically. And at the same time, interest me as a player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got to be selfish, haven't you?
A little bit. What do I want to say here? What do I want to incorporate? And especially with the band I'm in, second record in, what am I going to say?
Right.
What's going to be my voice? Continuing the legacy of what went before, I've got to say my own thing. I can't just rip them off or rip him off or rip him off. It's got to be, what am I going to say? So all those things, and as I said, I've always been about the spaces. So that's where you can say, if I've done 1,000 notes a second, that's been done before a lot better than I can do it. But it's those things in between that hopefully can put that little bit of spice in.
And the thing I do like about that trade-off in particular is you can tell who's who, because Glenn has his own unique fingerprint that only he will ever have. As did KK before him, as do you now. So
what can I do to stand up to that tradition? Right. And hopefully, people can pick it out,
Yeah, well, I could, for sure. Cool. So 2 down, 2 to go, my friend.
Okay. Let's think of another one. Okay, there's a song on Firepower. It's the last song on the record. It's called Sea of Red. So it's more of a ballad type thing. It picks up towards the end. And this one was over a chord progression that to me didn't call for any shred at all. It was just melody, and it builds towards the last chorus. So how can I build it? How can I be memorable? More like a Schenkery slash type thing where you can sing it and it takes you into the chorus. So I'll see if I can remember it. So that's that.
I like the breaking you're doing. You're doing unison bends a lot, which give it that sort of, that little bit of dissonance.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think that hurts.
No.
Again, vocalists are the same. Sometimes tension is the right word. Anyway, enough about that. I'll try and slow it down. Again, getting those little bends in,
and the breaking into them as well, giving that.
Yeah.
And that's another, it's very Randy in places.
I think so.
And Schenker-esque.
Randy Schenker.
You wear your influences on your sleeve very well, but still sound like you.
How can you not? You can't hide that strong of an influence, especially the Schenker one. I was always into Schenker earlier on.
Is that anything behind the V?
Definitely. I mean, it was Schenker, it was Randy, it was KK, it was a few guys, the Wishbone-esque guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was immediately like, it was like the Strat to me. The first time I saw a guitar was a Strat, and it was Hendrix. It was upside down, and it still has that magical quality. Right. The V was the same thing. It was like, I haven't seen that before, and it looked like a spaceship, and it still does.
And the way Schenker would lock it. And because that gives him such power. And
he wouldn't move. He'd stand there, just wicked stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have seen him with long hair and the jumpsuit playing UFO.
Brilliant.
And it was one of those things you just go, wow.
Still that, I mean.
No, have you seen what he's doing now? It's frighteningly good.
He was out on tour with us in the UK in 2015, I think. I was out there every night behind him watching him, and it was him in the spotlight. So I got a silhouette of him, and right next to his 50-watt Marshalls, and it was a masterclass in what we're talking about, the spacing, the phrasing, the tone, the melody, the technique, the musicality of it.
Right.
You know, shred where it was needed, but otherwise it was just great guitar playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great melody, and that's, you know.
He's like a singer on guitar, he really is.
Really is. And people say he's underrated, but I think people that know how valuable Michael Schenker is and will always be. So.
Yeah, agreed. So one more to go. 3 down.
Are we 3 down, are we?
Yeah, 1 more to go, my friend.
Okay, okay. Let's do one. All right, this one is from a song called Rising from Ruins, off of Firepower. And again, I think you'd hear it's an interesting thing. As a guitar player, I've seen it happen in bars and stuff as well. People get up and they play a few songs, they want to impress, and they impress with notes.
Right.
Notes, 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 notes. So the instinct for me sometimes in Priest is I'm still the new guy, I will forever be. So sometimes my instinct is to impress with notes.
Right.
But I've found the less notes you play, the more melody, the more you connect.
Right.
The more, you know, but it goes against my 15-year-old instincts of trying to impress with notes. But it seems to resonate more with people. So all of these solos on the record, or most of them, have that going for them. I've kind of thought about what notes, what phrasing, what melodies, rather than just a flurry of notes. So this one is from Guardians of the Galaxy. This one's it's Guardians is the interlude, but the song is called Rising from Ruins, and it goes like this. So that's the first part of the solo, so I'll try and do it slowly. So it's just on the verge of being too quick to get in those bends, but slow enough to get them in.
Gotcha.
You know?
That's cool. I think that satisfies the best of both worlds, because it's got the melody, but there's enough digital trickery in there for someone to go, I want to learn that because that's flashy enough.
Yeah.
Well, but it's musical.
I hope so. You know, again, we do our best to be as musical as possible, and then the next phrase of it is a bit more. So it's a bit more flashy, so that's the balance.
Just using the open E string there.
Yeah. So it's like a triplet thing instead of. So it's the open E and the B.
Yes, right. You're right. Yeah. Now, how often do you use your little finger?
Not that often.
Right.
But
you can, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't do that with 3. You probably could, but it'd be tough.
I haven't got very big hands.
Prove me wrong. Okay, thanks. Prove me wrong. Yeah.
Shouldn't say this as a man, but like I've never had very big hands, you know. But it's always been more comfortable like this. But then sometimes you do have to. I mean, that's going to be more comfortable than that. I mean, you get people like Paul Gilbert who've got hands like aliens.
We just did something with Paul, and he can go from 1 to 24, I think. It's
incredible player, but he's got that. He's known as a shredder.
But he has taste, yeah.
Taste and technique and phrasing and the spacing and his vibrato.
And the faces.
And the rock faces, of course. Rock faces, like he's the master of the rock face. So yeah, that was what I was saying was with that you got a bit more of the melodic style solo at the first half, and the second half kind of balances out with a bit more of the flashy. So hopefully you get that balance in a solo that kind of takes you and then comes back again. Yeah.
Well, Richie, what can I say? This man has delivered 4 Faulkner fret burners from Firepower. So thank you. Will you play us out, please, my friend? And I appreciate
it. Of course.
it.
Thank you, Nick.